Hi and welcome back to my channel. My name is Lauren, the film student extraordinaire, and today we're talking about happiness, the strive for happiness, and if we should really be pursuing happiness to the extent that we do. So if that sounds interesting to you, keep watching.
I was kissing you with my eyes open, but you said keep them closed and be in the moment.
Got the computer, got the notes, let's go. Happiness motivates us to do lots of things. It motivates us to accomplish our goals, overcome obstacles, connect with other people, and so much more. But that doesn't mean that happiness and the idea of happiness is always a good thing. According to the Greater Good Science Center, there are 4 negative elements to happiness. 1, too much happiness can make you less creative and less safe. Think about the depressed artist trope. When we experience moderate levels of happiness, we get this creative boost. Yes, creativity. However, if you're always getting an overwhelming sense of positive stimuli, or even just some overwhelming happiness, you don't actually get that creative boost in your brain, which I think is pretty interesting. It's kind of like when you're super happy, like you can't really focus on stuff because you're just like so elated, you're kind of out of it. Versus when you experience some happiness, you can still channel that energy to do something. 2, too much positive emotion and not enough negative emotions actually makes it harder for people to adapt when there's a real challenge. Like if you're always really happy and something bad happens and you're not used to dealing with any kind of negativity, whether it's just like sadness or jealousy or anger, whatever, you're not used to it and it's a real struggle. It can also be compared to when, you're a high achieving student maybe for a long time and then you get to a class that's actually hard and you have to work, but you're not really used to studying or working hard and you struggle with it, even though technically you should be like able to accomplish it, but you just have never had to deal with that before. 3, happiness is not actually suited to every situation. Obviously people are like, oh, I always want to be happy, but not really. Or that doesn't really work. For example, there's the dramatic ones, like you're at a funeral. It's not really an appropriate situation to be happy. And when sometimes people are very sad about something maybe less extreme than a funeral, but something that still could be upsetting to them, whether it's a little thing that people might seem petty, like your favorite show is off your streaming service and now you can't watch it, or it's raining and you wanted to go outside. People was like, oh, just look on the bright side, be happy, be happy, be happy. But it's okay to be sad or to experience feelings other than happiness. Think about the movie Inside Out. Joy thinks everyone has to be happy and joyful all the time. By everyone, I mean Riley. But the point of the movie is that every emotion has value and that sadness especially has value. And that you can have sadness and happiness together. Obviously we have bittersweet, that feeling. So it's kind of like that, how we're not meant to be happy all the time, and that's like totally okay. Additionally, happiness can actually hurt us competitively because when we're happy, we're not as, when we're really happy, we're not as motivated because we're good with where we are. So we might slow down, take a step back. And I think that's kind of hit or miss. Like obviously I think everyone deserves a break. But if people are just like kind of let their life go by because they're content, they may realize at a certain point they can't catch up. Something I thought was really interesting when I was researching this, individuals who experience extreme levels of happiness a lot are more likely to develop mania, which I found intriguing. So I'm including it. I keep messing up what is 1, what is 2, 3, 4, so we're just gonna pretend and I'll type it in the front. Going back, look at my notes, I forgot to mention this. So when we go back to 1, which is the happiness can make you less creative and less safe, when you're happy, people are more likely to take more risks, they have less inhibitions, so you could put yourself in like danger that way. Woo! Now to the actual 3. Not all types of happiness are good for you. Now you might be like, what do you mean happiness? Obviously we think of like there's happiness, joy, elation, and you might be thinking these just all mean the same thing. They don't totally. People associate happiness with lots of different other things that can happen to you. For instance, maybe you did really well on a test. You're happy about it. You're also probably proud of yourself. And these positive emotions are just kind of tied together. However, too much of these things can be pretty bad. If you become too proud, you probably may become arrogant or cocky, and nobody wants to deal with that. Happiness brings other people different things. For instance, it can make some people more speedy, or people who can be happy, sometimes you just kind of want to cuddle up in the sun like a cat. So to kind of have this blanket statement of like, well, you should just be happy, what does that really mean? And what are we really telling people that they should be striving to accomplish and be? Now for 4. Pursuing happiness can actually make you unhappy. Now there's the kind of obvious, well, because if you're trying to be happy and then you're not happy, you feel like a failure. So then instead of just being like not happy, you might be like whatever, satisfied, content, you specifically feel not happy, which is a bummer. Additionally, when we're trying to get this level of happiness, we have these incredibly high expectations for ourselves and our happiness level that are hard to meet. So even though you could be doing something that should make you happy, because you don't feel as happy as you thought you would, you feel let down and you feel like you're not actually happy. Finally, it is important to seek happiness for the right reasons. It's really about the journey and doing the thing that is, bringing you this joy and this happiness. It's not about the destination of being happy. Because if you're always trying to get to being happy, first of all, you can't enjoy whatever moment you're in because you're trying to see if you're happy or not. But also, you will most likely never reach it, which is like totally against the point of pursuing this happiness thing. I understand it's not that easy to just step back from this pursuit of happiness, and part of that is because it's super capitalized in our society. There's a huge section of books and media and everything about like self-help and self-actualization, being your best self, being your happiest self, fulfilling yourself. And I succumb to these things, and I don't think they're all bad. But we do put a ton of emphasis on things that probably aren't actually helping us, or are helpful to some people but not to us, and we're not really trying to figure out what's helpful for us. We're just trying to, spend $10 and then achieve eternal happiness. That's not gonna happen. Spoiler. One of the articles I was reading had this really interesting quote, which I have typed here. I'm assuming it's gonna be very similar, but I'll also put it on the screen. We use gratitude journals, meditate, say positive affirmations. We may even obtain our life goals, marriage, dream jobs, etc. And yet, are we really happier to a noticeable extent? And I think that phrase, noticeable extent, is what really drew me to that quote and why I included it here, because what does that mean? What does it mean? Does it mean that when you're walking, you have a spring in your step? Does it mean that you're saying thank you and like hello to more people because you're smiling more? Does it mean you just like feel better on the inside? And what does, sorry, I got a message. And what does feel better on the inside mean? Should I have a warm heart? Should my heart feel really big? Should I feel just like my blood's flowing? And if I don't feel things that should be noticeable, like I got this job and I have a rush, but then it's over, then what? Like you're kind of left in the lurch, which sucks. It just sucks. Aristotle had the view of the good life, which brings me back to my freshman year of college when I had to do a presentation on the good life. And I have a video that you can watch about the good life, and I will link it down below and try to put it in a card, but sometimes I forget to do that, but you will find it if you want to find it. And he argues that happiness is not about feeling happy and good, but feeling right. In order to feel that way, we need to be living life and experience it in a way that aligns with our beliefs and our values. Obviously, in order to do that, you need to figure out what your beliefs and values are. If you don't know what your beliefs and values are, you are not going to be able to feel right. Sorry, I had to get up close and personal for that. I don't want that to be discouraging to you, because you might be thinking, well, Lauren, that's why I need these self-help books to figure out what my values are. Instead, think about it as if it's not just a quick fix, and that's okay. And anyone who claims that being happy is a quick fix and you just snap your fingers and be happy, they are lying or delusional. They could be kidding themselves, and in that case, that is unfortunate. But don't let them kid you. Furthermore, along with the good life idea, you need to let yourself experience feelings other than happiness, whether it's sadness, jealousy, anger. Whatever it is, you need to let yourself feel that way so that you can continue to grow as a person. Now, these are all really generic and general things, and I have tried to mention people are different, but if I haven't mentioned it before now or didn't resonate, people are different. Your personality is going to impact what brings you fulfillment. As Veronica Huda at the University of Ottawa says, introverted people are more likely to be fulfilled by a hedonistic approach to happiness. So things that are like related to you and yourself will bring you happiness and pleasure. And that can often be like self-indulging behaviors, maybe excessive alcohol or partying. I consider myself to be extroverted, but I don't do either of those things. But, you know, I do find extreme joy in, like, if I want to do a puzzle, I will do the puzzle, and that brings me a lot of happiness. But again, just remember this: if you may be an extrovert, this doesn't necessarily just apply to you because everyone is different. Then she said that more introverted people find happiness through a meaningful purpose. I like to think of myself as having like a purpose in life, but I don't know if I find joy in like doing charity work, but I do feel like I'm giving back, which makes me happy. But as I said, I just said joy versus happy. So we have these different ideas that are all kind of lumped together. And again, just because Veronica says this about, you know, what extroverted or introverted people find fulfillment in, doesn't mean it applies to you. I just thought it was interesting. And I want to start wrapping up this video by saying that I'm not against being happy. I'm not against trying to find happiness. I just think it can be a toxic thing to be constantly pushing yourself to be happy and happy and happy when you're really not happy. And part of that is because if you're trying to be happy and you're not listening to your own self and that you're not happy, you can't fix whatever's like maybe causing you extreme stress. Maybe you're just having an off day, but maybe there's a real problem that if you're just trying to be happy and saying you're happy, you are gonna miss. And then maybe you can't fix it. I also want to say that I do, as I said already, I do engage in self-help stuff. I have a gratitude journal. I try to think of what I'm thankful for every day. I do yoga. I mean, that's more like, I don't know if you would call that help for happiness, but like I do that stuff. But I'm doing these things and organizing in a certain way because they bring me happiness. If I had started doing something and I didn't like it, I would not keep doing it because other people find happiness in it. I need to find things that make me happy and bring me authentic fulfillment. And that is what you need to do. So take suggestions from people by all means. Take ideas, try things out, but if they're not working for you, don't feel bad that they're not working for you. Instead, just look for something else. No one can teach you what will make you happy. And that is hard to deal with because that means you have to figure it out for yourself. But I believe in you. And I haven't totally figured myself out yet. But I've got my whole life for that. And you have your whole life as well. I hope this was interesting. I'll leave all my sources down below as usual. And yeah, if you liked it, give it a thumbs up. Comment down below what you think makes you happy and fulfilled. And don't forget to subscribe. And I'll see you next time.